If you're looking to set up a static website with AWS S3 and a Cloudfront distribution, this video is for you. Where I personally host my website this way, and I'm going to show you the setup that I use to configure it. Okay, to start us off, I'm going to open up AWS S3. Here is my CloudZap web bucket. And so inside of here, you'll see this is my Next.js React website that I'm hosting. And if I go to the main thing is going to be permissions. You have to set this policy, which I'll put link in the description as well, for enabling all get object on any resource, which is this bucket slash any resource. And then block public access is off. And if we go to properties and scroll down, you'll see static website hosting is enabled. So I'm going to go back. I'll create a bucket. We'll do YT web. And then under here, scroll down. You're going to turn off public access. Go ahead and create your bucket. I just had to change the name because that was not globally available. So we added CloudZap at the end. And then come into your bucket. Go ahead and press properties. Scroll all the way down. And you just want to enable static website hosting. This index document, if you're using a static website where it's like React built, then it's probably just going to be index.html for both the document and the error document. So this way you handle your errors within React. So if I go to /abcd123 as a route and it doesn't exist, we want the error document. We want the index document to handle that automatically. We don't want to be sending to a different error document. You can do that. It's a little more complex way to do it, and there are reasons for it, but you're probably just going to use the index.html. So we'll go ahead and save changes and then go to permissions and go to policy, and you're going to want edit policy, and then paste in that policy from the description. And you'll see here, you do want to change the ARN here to your own bucket. So this is going to be YT Web CloudZap, and then just save changes. Now that's good to go. If you come back to properties, you can actually see you now have a public website endpoint, so you can open this up. There's not going to be anything here, obviously, because no document exists. Obviously, there's not going to be anything here because there's no index.html yet, but that's how this would work. So next up, we're going to go into CloudFront. So if I open up CloudFront, here's my distribution, and there's a few key pieces here. So we create a distribution, and that's going to give us this distribution name. And then this is where we can set up SSL. So you'll see here I have a ticket in ACM, SSL ticket. So you'll see here I have an SSL certificate in ACM. So if I open that up, here is my certificate. The way that you go ahead and create this, you're going to want to do request public certificate, do DNS validation, enter in your domain name. So mine's cloudzap.co. You're probably going to need to add in star.cloudzap.co if you want to forward anything, or whatever your domain is in this case. And then DNS validation, RSA is fine. Go ahead and request. Once you do that, that is actually going to go. Once you do that, that will give you the setup here. It'll tell you to create the records in Route 53. So here are the records. It'll say that it's not yet done where this says success. Here's my 2 records. It just gives a CNAME and CNAME value. If you're hosting your domain in Route 53, it makes it super easy. Press create records in Route 53. And this will show that, and it'll show pending validation. Mine's already there, so I had to remove that. But here are the 2 things. You just select the checkbox, hit create records, and it can take up to 24 hours to validate, but usually it takes a few minutes. So real quickly now, we can go over to Route 53. I'll show you that. And I'm not going to set up a new domain in Route 53, but if you need to do that, I'll put a link in the description for how to do so. So once your ACM is set up with your SSL certificate, you can come back to your distribution. And now go ahead and edit under settings. And under here, you're going to enter your domain names if you haven't done so already. Put in cloudzap.co, and then I forward www.cloudzap.co. And then here, you should now be able to select your CloudFront. And then down here, you should be able to now select your ACM certificate. So here's mine, star.cloudzap.co will cover both of these. So go ahead and select, and then you can leave all the rest the same. Set the default root object to index.html though. Go ahead and save those changes. Next up, we're going to create an origin. So go to origins, press create origin, and you're going to choose your S3. Once you make a static website with public hosting enabled like we did, it should just populate here. So go ahead and select the one that you created. The index path is going to be here again, index.html, and then everything else I'm going to leave the same. Lastly, error pages. So 403 and forward. Lastly, the error pages. So I forward 403 and 404 to index.html. This is basically saying if I go to cloudzap.co/abc, I want to just send them to the index.html and let my React page show them the page is not found, rather than when you open up the site, it'll just say page not found, like the S3 missing. And so now that your CloudFront distribution is created, you should be ready to go. Next, we're going to move into Route 53. I'm not going to set up my hosted zone in this video, but I'll leave a link to a document in the description in case you need to do that. But effectively, you just need to manage your domain within Route 53 if you're not doing so already. But once you have that set up, go ahead and press create record. You're going to set a subdomain if you want it. Mine's cloudsapp.co with no subdomain, so I'm going to leave it. Create an A record. Go ahead and make an alias. You can choose Cloudfront for your traffic, and then it'll give you the distribution list. Go ahead and select the one that we just created and create record. That'll take a couple minutes to be populated. That'll take a few minutes to propagate. It could take a couple hours technically, but it usually doesn't. So once that's done, your site should now be publicly available. So I go mine here. Mine's already uploaded, so it's fine, but you'll probably get an error document here. So the last thing we need to do is go actually upload our website. So we come back into S3. Here is my bucket again. And here's all my documents. So you need all of this updated. This is the result of me running npm run build. So you can run npm run build, get a list of the files, and then go ahead and just manually upload it. But that becomes a problem when you're building. So the better way that I like to do it is with a get action. So here's my site. Again, link in the description for this, and I'll put the get action there. If I go to GitHub workflows, here is my workflow, S3 deploy. So basically, every single time that I make a commit onto the main branch, it is going to run npm run build. It's going to run npm install, npm run build, and then AWS S3 sync, and then AWS S3 sync to my bucket. So it outputs it in the dist directory and then puts it into this bucket. And then lastly, I create a Cloudfront distribution to clear the cache. So now this way, I never run npm run build. It happens completely automated. And if you're interested in learning more about how to use GitHub Actions, check out this video. So to get to that Git action, here is my site. This is public in my GitHub. I'll put link in the description again. So go ahead and check it out. And inside of here, you'll see I have a GitHub workflows. So if I open up workflows, I have S3 deploy. And inside of here, I set my access keys. And then I do npm install, npm run build, and then AWS S3 sync. So basically, every time I push a commit to the main branch, which could be a one-line text change, that change gets pushed, it triggers this action, it runs npm run build, creates it in the dist directory, and then syncs it with my website bucket. And then once that's done, we create a Cloudfront distribution invalidation so that it'll clear any caching. Not going to go into all the details of the GitHub action here, but if you're interested in GitHub Actions, I'll put a link here for a video on how to set them up. And be sure to subscribe.